Hey lovelies, it's Kate. Welcome back to another speed build. It's finally time for another modern base game build. I know I said that I would finally like to build Foxbury Institute, and I still haven't done that, to be honest. I still haven't touched the modern windows that we got in Discover University, and I quite spontaneously felt like building a base game build for you guys. So again, it's a modern build, and I had a lot of fun to build this, and I built this on my favorite lot ever, the 50x50 lot in Willow Creek. I have decided that this is my favorite lot, probably because whenever I have no idea what to build or where to build, I always come back to this lot. It's amazing. As I've said before, it's not too big, not too small. 50x50 is amazing if you want to build a big mansion, but it's not too big. When you are building on a 64x64 lot, it can be overwhelming, as I said, and it's a base game lot because it's part of Willow Creek, so anyone can use it. However, let's talk about the obvious here. There is a round room in this build, and it's a base game build. So for this, I used some base game windows, and I used the absolutely amazing tool mod by Twisted Maxi for this. I have already used this mod in my last modern base game build, and the great thing about this mod is when you upload a lot to the gallery, it's still unmodded, so you guys can just download it just like you always do. If you're using my lots, you can just download it. You don't need the mod for this. It's listed as mod and CC free in the gallery, so nothing changed for you guys, but you are still going to have this round room in your build. So I used the tool mod, and it's just amazing. I can totally recommend it, and I actually felt super inspired by the very talented Amber Light. We have a Twitter DM group going on with a couple of simmers, and Amber is also in this group, and we have been all obsessed with this mod because it's just super amazing. And Amber created a little guide, and she figured out the correct numbers on how you have to rotate each window to create a perfect circular shape, and I used her numbers for the big room at the bottom. I used the biggest foundation piece available, which has a fence attached to it already, and then you just have to remove the fence. You make it one tile smaller on both sides, and then when you combine 4 of them, you have a perfect circle. I'm going to link Amber's Twitter, her blog, and her tutorial down in the description box. Please check her out. She is amazing. She is super talented. Like, honestly, I'm not just saying it. Her builds are amazing. You will be blown away. Also, she's the sweetest. She's so kind, and you're going to love her work. So for the room at the top, I used a smaller foundation piece, and I figured out that I had to change the numbers a little bit for this room. And then I just stacked 2 of these rooms on top of each other. For the one at the top, it's completely enclosed by these windows. There's just a little opening in the back so the Sims can walk in. And at the bottom, it's just a half circle actually, and I attached it to a room because I kind of had to make it work. If you're just working with some circular foundations, you just have to attach a house to this. So I figured out that it would be the best to just use a half circle, and then I attached the room in the back. This is just like some type of sun room. There's a table on the inside, as you will see later, and some chairs, of course, so it's just some area to hang out and to sit on the outside, and it just looks good. It's just an amazing eye catcher, and it's something different for once. Also, I just realized that I didn't even explain what the mod is actually about. So you install the mod, and then you switch to live mode, and then you can click on almost any object, and then you can elevate or rotate objects, and you can even move objects off lot, which is amazing. You can just decorate the surroundings of a lot if you would like to. I think it's just amazing that you can rotate stuff. I mean, elevating stuff is also amazing because, you know, the little trick that I sometimes use where I build a basement and then I place an object in the basement and then I raise it up. With this mod, you don't have to use a basement. You can just move something into the ground that sinks into the ground, for example. Also, you can work with very precise numbers, so you can make sure that an object is exactly where you want it to be, which is amazing. But for me personally, the ability to rotate objects, especially windows, is just super amazing because by default you cannot do that. Even if you hold on Alt so you can rotate objects, really you cannot do this with windows. So it's only working with this mod, and it's just super amazing. I'm just really happy about this, and I'm really thankful that Amber figured out the exact numbers, and it's just a lot of fun to work with this mod. And yeah, as I said, it's unmodded in the gallery, which is the best thing ever. You guys know that I always provide CC and mod-free builds for you guys, so you can just download it from the gallery, nothing is missing. So even though I use the mod here, you don't need it, as I said, and you will be able to download this exact house in the gallery, which is just super amazing. Working on base game lots can be challenging. I mean, there's a lot of fun stuff, and over time the Sims team also added more stuff to base games, so over time it really got a lot more easier to create some amazing base game builds, and I really enjoyed the challenge. And personally, I think it's much easier to build modern base game builds than traditional rustic base game builds, but I really enjoyed the challenge. But this tool just offers more options, and when I started to work on this lot, all I knew was that I wanted to try out the round window section, the round room if you would like to call it that, and I was so uncertain if I would like to use packs or just the base game for this, and I figured that a base game build is always fun, first of all, and I figured that it would be amazing to combine such an amazing feature with just the base game, so you can just, I don't know, just create something really special and unique, but it's just base game still, because you don't need the mod, and it was a lot of fun to create this. As you have probably also noticed, I used a lot of the new debug objects. I mean, they aren't really new, but there was a point a couple of months ago where some new environment objects were added to the game, and we got a new cheat, the bb.showLive added objects cheat, so I still call it the new objects even though it's not really that new anymore. The rocks in the front around the pool area, the pool is just decoration, it's just like some type of pond, so it's not actually a pool, even though I used a pool, because you cannot use the fountain tool underneath anything. So if you want to build something like this, always use the pool tool and you are not going to run into any problems. The columns around the round foundation at the pool are also environment objects, just some stuff to decorate it. The landscaping is really crazy. I used one of the base game bushes all around the terrain in the front. I love this bush whenever I'm trying to hide the terrain, and I've used this a million times. Even when I'm building with packs, I can totally recommend it. It's just amazing. I really love this, and I just of course activated the bb.moveObjects cheat, and then I just placed it all around the area. Just make sure to hold on Alt and your left mouse button and move your mouse to rotate an object freely, and then you can just place stuff like this, and there are many objects in this build. It's really over the top, but when I started to work on the landscaping, it really came along. I wasn't sure at first. I liked how it looked, but I don't know, I just wasn't really feeling it. I wasn't sure if this would be a good build. I always stop building, I start working on a build, and sometimes I just ditch it. I just bulldoze the lot and start over, and here it was one of those lots where I wasn't really sure. For some builds I just know right away that this is going to be good and that I'm going to like it, but here I wasn't sure until I started to work on the landscaping. The landscaping just makes this super crazy build even more crazy. It's really over the top, as I said, but at the same time the landscaping just added what was missing for me, just some organic components. There was just something missing because it just looks so hyper modern and almost futuristic. It's definitely one of my more crazy builds. It's not really realistic, and there's just a lot of crazy stuff going on, and I added more stuff to this until it looked fun. This build is big. I mean, really big. I know that 50 by 50 is generally not considered to be small by most builders or most simmers in general, but here I really used a lot of the space, because sometimes when I'm building on these slots I just build in the center and there's still a lot of space around for landscaping and a beautiful garden, for example. But here I used a lot of the space, and this house has 6 bedrooms and I think 7 bathrooms. I'm not sure, I have to count again before I upload this to the gallery. There's a lot of stuff going on, and the bedrooms are on different levels. There are 2 bedrooms on the main level, and then above at the top level there are more bedrooms, there are multiple en-suites, 2 kids rooms, a lot of stuff. And then at the bottom there's just one big entry hall, you can just probably call it that. It's really big, and the stairs lead up to the main floor. And what I really like about this, are the stairs. It looks like some type of modern staircase, and I think it turned out super fun and good on the interior, and it's actually really playable, manageable, even though it's also super crazy at the same time. And you just saw a minute ago or so how I added the bush to the round section. I was just rambling away on how to do that. And here I use another environment object. It's just some type of wall, and this way the area at the bottom is enclosed and you cannot just peek underneath it, and I think it just makes it look more polished. And then I decided to add some windows which have a blue tint. One of the base game windows, of course, it's all base game. And once again, for this build, I used a tool by James Turner that allows you to disable packs, which is a very simple way to create a base game build. If you own any packs but you still want to create a base game build, it's super handy because you don't have to filter for base game stuff. And then sometimes you add something that's not base game, which is super annoying, then you have to hunt the object down and all that. So I can totally recommend using this tool. I'm going to link it down below in the description box as well. And then here I started to work on the interior, and for this kitchen I wasn't sure what to do at all. First, as you can see, the counter confused me, the corner piece, and then I had no idea what color to go for. So I wanted to keep the interior quite modern and sophisticated because of the very futuristic and crazy exterior, and you guys know that I always try, or mostly try, to match the interiors to the exterior so it all makes sense. But here I wasn't sure what to do and I was super lost. Here at this point, it's super gray, super white, super modern, super monochrome almost. But then I didn't like the whole look. It didn't look homey and inviting. So I wanted to add a bit of color. And as you will see in a couple of seconds, I then changed up the whole color scheme. And at this point, I decided to just use a lot of color in the whole build. I used a burgundy wallpaper in the living room, as you will see. And I just added a lot of color. So at first, I really wanted to stay in this very modern monochrome theme, but I did the same for another base game build that I did months and months ago, and then it looked super weird, like some type of alien ship, not in a good way. So here I really wanted this to look cozy and fun, and I wanted to create something that looks quite realistic and cozy on the inside, even though it's just base game, which is always hard for me. Furnishing with just the base game is far more difficult for me than creating the exterior. So as you can see, I used a lot of green in the kitchen, and then at first I also used green in the living room. This green totally fits into the modern theme in my opinion, but then I also used some totally different colors for the other rooms. This here is the living room area, but then I went for this very dark burgundy, beautiful red, and then I added more and more. So at first I wasn't sure, and then I thought, hey, I'm just going to add a lot of color to this build, but I still used very light browns and white for most of the furniture. So there's a fun contrast going on, and I really like how this turned out. I think it's one of my better base game interiors. As I said, not really that easy for me. I created a reading corner in the living room, but there's also a separate office behind the living room, which is going to have a dark green color scheme. As I said, I just went crazy with the colors at some point, and I also added many bookshelves to this room because it's an office. It just makes sense. I also added a chess table to the living room, so there's something for Sims to do, so they can learn some new skills. There's also a stereo and the TV, of course, so it's just a big open living area. And then we have the sunroom, the round sunroom that I talked about in the beginning, and you can see here that your Sims can walk out of that door and then they can spend some time there. And this here is the office. I just love these dark green walls. It just looks so beautiful, and the same goes for furniture that has this color. I love kitchens that have this color, just super beautiful. But at the same time, when I imagine this in real life, if I would live in a house like this with these very dark walls everywhere, I don't know if it would kind of depress me in a weird way, because I don't know, I can totally imagine a winter or like celebrating Christmas in a house like this, but then at the same time when summer comes around the corner, I don't know if it would be too dark or gloomy for me. In game, I think it looks super beautiful, and when I see it on pictures, I also love it a lot, but then I have no idea if I would actually like to live in a dark room like this. I don't know. And this is the bathroom, and I actually really like how the whole floor plan turned out. So there's the staircase that I mentioned, and then I just added the bathroom right next to the stairs. So the stairs and the bathroom together are one rectangle, so it just made sense for the floor plan. And the bathroom has no windows for that reason, because it's just inside the whole house, inside the living room area. And this is one of the kids' rooms. I just wanted to create a really cute pink happy kids room, and then there's also another one which has more of a green theme. So as I said, there are 2 kids rooms, and the other 4 bedrooms are just regular bedrooms for grown-ups. So there's a lot of space for a big sim family. Of course, you could totally just remodel the other bedrooms if you would like to do that. So many sims can actually live in this house. Also, in my last video I talked about decorating for Christmas. I still haven't done that. I bought some new stuff, and I just got the box with all the stuff in it from the attic, so I can just start decorating. So I'm super ready. I'm going to do that tonight. And I also got some new lights for the Christmas tree. So my Christmas tree is usually super traditional, as I said. I only use red and gold for my Christmas tree, and it's super traditional and only some white lights. But in my last video I talked about the Christmas decorations my grandma used, and that she always had a very colorful, non-traditional Christmas tree. And then after talking about this, I decided to buy some colorful Christmas lights that I'm going to add to the Christmas tree, just as some type of nod to her. So my Christmas tree is also a bit more colorful. I might post a picture on Instagram or Twitter when I'm done. And this is it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this video and this build. As I said, you can find this in the gallery, and you can find all the information down below. And as I also said, it's CC and mod free, even though I used the mod to create the round section. You don't need the mod to download this. I hope you have a perfect day, and I hope I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye!